Hello students, today we are going to start our next chapter, our 10th chapter, that is The Little Girl. The Little Girl, this chapter, its author is Catherine Mansfield. Catherine Mansfield, in full, her name was Catherine Mansfield Murray. She was a famous, prominent writer, modernist writer, who was born and brought up in New Zealand. She was born on 14 October 1888 in Wellington, New Zealand, and she died on 9th January 1923 in France. She wrote short stories and this poetry. This The Little Girl. The title of the story refers to a little girl named Kezia that we will come across in our chapter. The little girl, as its title is there, this little girl refers to Kezia. Her name is Kezia. Now, student, when we are young, when we are small, when we are very small, then we think that our parents are very strict towards us. We don't realize why they are so much strict towards us. But when we grow up, when we become mature, then we come to realize and then we understand this thing that if they are strict, they were being strict with us, that was only for our betterment. Whatever they did, how much strict they were, but that was only for our betterment. So this universal truth that parents love their children, it always holds true. Okay? Now we will read this chapter. The little girl. Yes, to the little girl, he was a figure to be feared and avoided. And now it is not mentioned which one is the little girl. What is the figure? Who is the figure that is to be feared and avoided to this little girl? Now look at this little girl. She is Kezia, a 9-year-old girl. Every morning before going to business, he came into the nursery and gave her a perfunctory kiss, to which she responded with goodbye, father. And oh, the glad sense of relief when she heard the noise of the buggy going faded and faded down the long road. Now what happened every morning? Every morning to go, when he used to go to his business, to his duty, to his business, then he came. Okay, I will read the story in the present tense. Then he comes into his daughter's room to give her a perfunctory. Perfunctory means routine or any careless way. Perfunctory case, and on that case she responded, her father, goodbye. Now what happens? जैसे ही बगी के दूर जाती means आवाज, it becomes fainter and fainter. Then a glad sense of relief comes to this little daughter's heart, ये little girl's heart. जैसे फादर की बगी की आवाज़ कम होती जाती है, तो वैसे उसको बहुत रिलीफ महसूस होता है. Then, in the evening, leaning over the banisters at his home coming, she heard his loud voice in the hall. अब now अभी शाम को जब घर आता है, when her father comes back in the evening, तो mostly वो क्या देखती है, वो she is used to lean over the banister. Banister जो wooden और metal just साइड में staircase होता है, तो वहाँ पर तो वो ऐसे लटकी होती थी mostly. This is boys are in the habit of leaning over the banister. Mostly kids are in the habit of leaning over the banisters. Then she heard his loud voice in the hall. जैसे ही फादर शाम को आते हैं तो उसकी जोर से लाउड वॉइस सुनाई देती है. Bring my tea into the smoking room. Hasn't the paper come yet? Have they taken him to the kitchen again? Mother, go and see if my paper's out there and bring me my slippers. अब देखो फादर जब भी शाम को घर आते हैं, then he used to say this thing that may bring my tea in the smoking room. पेपर अभी तक नहीं आया है, और if paper has come, then your mother has put that paper into the kitchen. और mother go and see मेरे papers कहाँ हैं. Okay, and bring me my slippers. Now this is okay. Now then mother would call to her. Okay, yes. Now Kezia, mother would call to her, if you are a good girl, you can come down and take off father's boot. अब मदर क्या करेगी? मदर उसको आवाज देगी केजिया को कि केजिया, if you are a good girl, then come down and Take out your father's robe. Take off your father's robe. Slowly the girl would slip down the stairs, holding tightly to the banisters with one hand, more slowly still across the hand, pushing open the smoking room door. अब वो क्या करेगी? Actually, this case is very afraid of her father because her father never spoke politely with her, and mostly he used to shout in the house. That's why she is very afraid of her father. She is very scared of her father. Then what happened? Then अब उसकी mother क्या बोलेगी? If you are a good girl, अगर बहुत अच्छी लड़की, then come and take off your father's slippers. और फिर वो लड़की slowly girl धीरे धीरे she would slide, she would come down. बहुत tightly she is holding the banisters और वो father का जो smoking room door है उसको she will open. Then by at that time he had his spectacles on and looked at her over them in such a way that was terrifying to the little girl. अब ये little girl है, अब इसके father तब तक क्या करेंगे? तब तक अपने specs लगा लेंगे अपनी बेटी की तरफ, he will see. तो उसको वो that scene जो होगा, that was the most terrifying scene for her. Then well Kezia, अब now come to this. Okay, now this father is asking something and she is not able to speak clearly. Mostly she doesn't stutter in front of anyone, but she used to stutter in front of her father. When father confronting him her, then she used to stutter. अब देखो father ने पूछा this thing कि yes. अब Kezia get a move on and pull off these boots and take them outside. Being a good girl today. अब पापा क्या बोल रहे हैं कि जल्दी से Kezia move on और ये boot को side पे करो. And don't father, you don't. If you stutter like that, mother will have to take you to the doctor. अब वो father से इतनी डरती है, she is so much scared that she can't speak words clearly. तो वो क्या करती है? Stutter करती because of the fear. अब वो stutter करती है, बोलती है I don't know father. Our father says this, if you stutter like this, then your mother will have to take you to the doctor. Speech therapy means mostly those students, those kids who stutter, they go through the speech therapy, and the speech therapy helps them to overcome this type of weakness. Then okay, she never stuttered with other people, had quite given it up, but only with father, because then she was trying so hard to say the words properly. Now it has been told in this line कि वो किसी और के सामने she doesn't stutter, but father के सामने उसको words properly pronounce करना, उसको read करना वो इतना tough है कि she starts stuttering. Then what's the matter? Why are you looking so wretched about? Mother, I wish you would teach this child not to appear on the brink of suicide. Here Kezia carried my teacup back to the table. Carefully, your hand jog like an old lady's, and try to keep your handkerchief in your pocket, not up your sleeve. Oh, father बोलता है कि mother देखो तुम इसे teach करो कि ऐसे इतनी wretched, इतनी unhappy. Why she is so unhappy? What's the matter? क्या बात है? तुम इतनी wretched, so sad और unhappy, तुम क्यों लगती हो? That Kezia को फिर ये कह रहे हैं कि you should keep your handkerchief in your pocket, not up your sleeve. Yes, father. Now again she is coming. Now on Sundays, okay, now it is their Sunday routine. On Sunday, she sat in the same pew with him in church. Pew, a bench with a back, that is called pew. On Sunday, she sat in the same pew with him in church, listening while he sang in a loud, clear voice. Sunday को most they go to the church, okay? और चर्च में क्या करते हैं? दोनों they sat in the same pew with him in church. और जोर से he used to this pray, and जोर से ये during the sermon जोर से बोलता है और उसको देखती है अपने father को. अब यहाँ पर से देखते हैं. He said his prayer so loudly that she was certain God heard him above the clergyman. Now he used to decide, you prepare just to say, जोर से he used to say, तो उसको ऐसा लगता था कि ऊपर जो God बैठा है above the clergyman. Clergyman नहीं जो Christian priest है उससे भी ऊपर वो उनको सुन लेगा. Certainly God was sure to लिसन, क्यों वो इतनी जोर से बोलता है. Now he was so big, his hand and his neck, especially his mouth, making hard. Now this is his characteristics. You can say this is how he was, his physical characteristics. Means वो इतना बड़ा है, इतनी उसकी हाइट में भी, वो उसकी हैंड्स, उसकी नेक और उसका गला, स्पेशली हिज माउथ, जब वो जमाई देता है व्हेन ही यॉन, तो उसको ऐसा लगता था कि दिस फिगर, उसको माइंड में था कि दिस फिगर, जब हम अपने रूम में होती थी नर्सरी मीन्स जो चाइल्ड्स बेडरूम, यू कैन से बच्चों का जो गृह है, जो चाइल्ड्स बेडरूम, दैट इज फॉर नर्सरी. अब नर्सरी में जब वो सोचती थी उसके बारे में कि इतने बड़े हैं, उसके हैंड्स, उसकी नेक और स्पेशली उसका जो माउथ है, जो इतनी जोर से वो जमाई देते हैं, थिंकिंग हिम अलोन इन नर्सरी, अकेले नर्सरी में उसके बारे में सोचना अबाउट दिस टाइप ऑफ कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स कि वो ऐसे ऐसे हैं, तो इट वाज वेरी टेरिफाइंग फॉर दैट लिटिल गर्ल. Now on Sundays afternoon, now this Casey is attached with her grandmother. Instead of this father and mother, she is more attached with her grandmother. और mostly वो देखो दादी के साथ she is sitting with her grandmother on this rolling chair. Now, on Sundays afternoon, grandmother sent her down to the drawing room, dressed in her brown velvet, to have a nice talk with father and mother. And now we know this thing that she is more attached with her grandmother. But Sundays afternoon में क्या her grandmother used to say कि तुम क्या करो कि drawing room में जाओ, उसका brown velvet she has worn, तो अपने mother और father के साथ तुम बात करो, to have a nice talk with your father and mother. But the little girl, when she comes downstairs, then what she found? Then she found कि उसकी जो father है, okay. But the little girl always found mother reading the sketch and father stretched out on the couch, his handkerchief on his face, his feet propped on one of the best sofa pillows, and so soundly sleeping that he snored. Grandmother ने बोला कि तुम जाओ and have a nice talk with your parents. Then what happened when she comes downstairs and what she sees that mother is reading that book, magazine, the sketch, and father always lying on the sofa or move के ऊपर handkerchief is there above the mouth और one of the feet on a sofa pillow. और पापा जो एकदम इतने ज़्यादा सोए हैं, so soundly he is sleeping that he snored means वो खराटे लेते हैं जब वो सोए थे इतनी deeply. जब वो आफ्टरनून में बात करने आए अपने पेरेंट्स के साथ, तो दोनों busy. Mother is busy in reading newspaper, this magazine, and father is sleeping on the sofa. She perched on the piano stool, gravely watched him until he woke and stretched and asked the time, then looked at her. अब वो वहाँ पर खड़ी रहती थी, उनको देखती रहती थी, मोस्टली फादर को मस्त ग्रेवली वो देखती रहती थी, और जब तक वो जागे ना, और जैसे वो जागते थे ही asked the time, और फिर वो क्या बोलते थे, उसको देखते थे. Don't stare so Casey, you look like a little brown owl. Now father used to say this thing कि ऐसे मत देखो तुम्हें, मुझे little brown owl की तरह you are saying that. Look at this little girl, how much she is busy with her work. One day when she was kept indoors with a cold, now cold होता है तो सभी बच्चे क्या करते हैं, अपने घर के अंदर खेलते हैं. Then one day she was kept indoors with a cold. The grandmother told her that father's birthday was next week. अब एक दिन वो घर में थी और उसकी दादी ने क्या था, उसकी दादी ने बोला कि your father's birthday is coming in the following week, the next week. So you should make a gift for him. तो तुम्हें एक गिफ्ट बनाना चाहिए उसके लिए to as a birthday present. वो बोलती okay and suggested she should make him a pin cushion for a present out of a beautiful piece of yellow silk. अब वो उसको बोलती है कि ठीक है, आप दादी grandmother is giving her, advising her to make a birthday present. तो तुम क्या करो, she advises you make the spin cushion बनाओ तुम yellow velvet का silk. Okay. Laboriously with a double cotton, the little girl stitched 3 sides. अब देखो उसने 3 sides को stitch कर दिया. That was the question. Okay, but what to fill in it? अब उसने वो तो बना लिया पिन कुशन, but with which thing she should fill that big cushion, and that was the question. अब वो क्या करती है, उसको यहाँ वहाँ ढूंढती है. उस दिन grandmother was out in the garden and she wandered into mother's bedroom to look for scraps. अब इसी big cushion she is making, but main वो उसमें क्या डालें, with what she should fill that big cushion. अब वो क्या करती है, उस दिन grandmother थी बाहर in the garden, और वो यहाँ वहाँ पूरे हाउस में घूमती, फिर मदर के रूम में जाती है. इन मदर्स रूम शी लुकिंग फॉर स्क्रैप्स, कुछ गलती से मार के. इन मदर रूम सम फाइन पेपर्स वर देयर. तो वो क्या करती है, पेपर्स में शी श्रेडेड देम, उसने उसको फाड़ दिए, छोटे छोटे टुकड़े कर दिए, एंड शी पुट देम इन द पिन कुशन. नाउ दिस इज रिटर्न. द ग्रैंडमदर वाज out in the garden and she wandered into mother's bedroom to look for scraps. On the bed table she discovered a great many sheets of fine paper. तो अब मदर के रूम में जाती है, वहाँ पर कुछ शीट्स की बहुत अच्छी पेपर, वो उनको she gathered them and shredded them into tiny pieces. फाड़ देती है उनको छोटे छोटे टुकड़ों में, tiny pieces, and stuck her case, then sewed up the fourth side. आप इसमें डाल देती हो, सिल देती है, sewed up the fourth side. अब 3 sides तो उसे बना ली थी, लेकिन fourth में then she sewed it. That night, okay, up, then what happens? That night there was hue and cry over the house. अब उस रात बहुत जोर से loud cry was there, whole शोर शराबा, loud cry was there. Father's great speech for the port authority had been lost. Roads were ransacked. Ransack means सब जगह अच्छी ऐसे carelessly, जो ransack हम ऐसे से ढूंढते हैं, when we search for something in a careless way, that is called a ransack. Rooms were ransacked, servants questioned, and finally mother came into nursery. और उसको क्या होता, that night when she laid that big cushion, that night there was a loud cry, there was a loud shout, hue and cry in the house. Rooms could, in a careless way, they were searched, they were ransacked, drawers वगैरह सब जगह देखा गया, and the servants were also questioned. फिर in the last mother comes to Kezia's room के, फिर mother क्या करती है, Kezia के room में आती है. Then she asks Kezia, have you seen there some papers, some fine papers were there, have you seen that? Actually this father was looking for his papers, they were his important papers, papers of speech were there. Okay. अब वो बोलती है, now she mother, अब servants were also questioned. Finally mother nursery में आती है, उसके रूम में आती है. Kezia, I suppose you didn't see some papers on a table in our room. अब Kezia को mother is saying, Kezia, I don't think कि तुमने कोई papers you have seen जो हमारी table में थे, हमारे room में थे. Oh yes, she said, I told them for my surprise. अब Kezia is a little girl. Okay, Kezia बोलती, yes mother, I have seen, और मैंने उनको फाड़ दिया for my surprise. Now, oh yes, she said. Okay, what? Screamed mother. Come straight down to the dining room this instant. अब now mother ने क्या बोला, क्या use? Now she screamed. वो बोलती सीधे नीचे आ जाओ to the dining room. अभी आओ. Okay. Now अब ये क्या थे? These papers were father's great speech के papers थे. This instant, and she ran down to where father was pacing to and fro, hands behind his back. अब वो नीचे उसको बुलाया, उसकी मदर ने फटफट नीचे आई और उसके फादर ऐसे हाथ पीछे करके he was doing to and fro, ऐसे ऐसे चले हुए थे to and fro. Well, he said sharply. Mother explained. He stopped and stared in a stupefied manner at the child. Did you do that? No, 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 she whispered. Mother, well, वो बोलता है ठीक है, और मदर एक्सप्लेन करती है. ही स्टॉप, उसको रोक देता है मदर को, एंड स्टेयर इन अ स्टूपिड, बहुत ही गुस्से से अपनी he stares at his daughter. Now his father asks, Kezia's father asks, did you do that? तुमने वो किया? Then she was scared. She starts stammering. She says, no, she whispered. Mother, go up to the nursery and fetch down the damn thing. See that the child is put to bed this instant. Crying too much to explain, she lay in the shadowed room watching the evening light sift through the Venetian blinds and trace a sad little pattern on the floor. अब क्या किया? अब mother को बोलता है go down, और वो जो इसने भी damn thing, whatever the stupid thing she has made, उसको लेकर आओ. Then father came into the room. Up अब वो क्या करते हैं, उस इवनिंग उसको एक ही जगह पे शिफ्ट कर देते हैं एंड देन फादर उसके रूम में आता है विद रूलर इन हिज हैंड, उसके हाथ में रूलर था। आई एम गोइंग टू विप यू फॉर दिस ही सेड। अब वो बोलता है कि मैं इसके लिए तुम्हें स्केल से मारूंगा। he said, oh no no no, she screamed, covering down under the bed clothes. He pulled them aside. और वो बोलती नहीं 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 प्लीज डोंट, और वो अपने हाथों को छुपाती है बट वो उसको जो क्विल्ट जो ब्लैंकेट उसको साइड में कर देता है। बेड क्लोज, सिट टाइट, he commanded, and hold out your hands. You must be taught once and for all not to touch what does not belong to you. अब वो बोलता है कि मैं, वो अपने हाथों को छुपाती है कि because her father has come to beat her, okay, to whip her hands. So वो बोलती है अपने हाथों को छुपाती है कि father says कि नहीं, I will teach you a lesson so that you should not do this type of thing again and you should not touch those things which do not, that does not belong to you. Okay, now come to this. But it was for you, your birthday. Now she is telling that whatever I have done, that was for your birthday. मैंने birthday के लिए आपके gift किया था. Down came the ruler on her little pink palm. वो ruler को father ने मारा उसके हाथ में. उसके हाथ now 9 years old girl के छोटे से हाथ हैं, little pink palms हैं. Hours later, when the grandmother had wrapped her in a shawl and rocked her in her rocking chair, the child cuddled close to her soft body. What did Jesus mean, Father saw for? She saw. Now she's a very heart-touching lines are there. Now she's saying, ruler आया उसके pink palms में उसको लगे, फिर grandmother आती है तो grandmother उसको wrap करती है shawl में और rocking chair में, as we have seen in that picture. Rocking chair में she sits. Our child क्लोज टू हर सॉफ्ट, चाइल्ड जो है वो ऐसे क्लोज हो जाता है, फिर वो बोलता है, जो चाइल्ड लिटिल गर्ल बोलती है कि व्हाई दिस जीसस हैड मेड फादर्स फॉर, जीसस ने फादर्स को क्यों बनाया है। शी सॉफ्ट, वो शी इज स्लीपिंग, तो उस वक्त वो शी सेज दिस थिंग कि व्हाई जीसस हैड मेड फादर्स। हियर इज अ क्लीन हैंकी डार्लिंग with some of my lavender water on it. Go to sleep, pet. You will forget all about in the morning. I tried to explain to father, but he was too upset to listen tonight. Okay, now grandmother क्या बोल रही है? Grandmother saying, ये लो ये clean hanky ले लो and go to your bed and you will forget everything in the morning. And she also tried to speak to her father. उसने father से बात करने की कोशिश की, but he was very upset tonight. बहुत upset था because those papers were his. You can say most important paper because that papers were for his speech. Okay, speech के लिए उसके papers थे. But the child never forgot. Next time she saw him, she waved both hands behind her back and red color flew into her chest. लेकिन बच्चा है, बच्चा that little child वो नहीं भूली, but father has done with her. तो वो नहीं भूली. Next time जब भी वो अपने father को she says, वो अपने हाथों को behind her back वो रख लेती थी और उसके फेस में रेड कलर आ जाता, flew into her cheeks. And now look at this. Okay, this is Kezia, and she was looking from her fence. Okay, the McDonald's lived in the next door house. McDonald's एक other family, it is physical. अभी next family के बारे में this is narrator is telling. The McDonald's lived in the next door house. There were 5 children. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looking through a hole. Now she is looking through a hole. Looking through a hole. The vegetable garden fence. The little girl saw them playing tag in the rain. अब देखो this case here, she used to look at her neighbor's house. Her neighbor एक fence में hole है, यहाँ से it is visible. The hole is there, and she is looking at they are playing this game. Tag game is they are playing. The father with the baby Mac on his shoulders, two little girls hanging on his coattails, ran around and round from a bed, shaking with laughter. Once she saw the boys turn the hose on him, okay, and he made a great grab at them, tickling them until they got hiccups. Okay, tickling, गुदगुदी बनाना उनको, तब तक करता था तो hiccups ना लग पाए. Now, अब ये देखिए कि how this father is playing with 5 kids. One is sitting on the his shoulders, 2 girls are here, this. Now अब उसको बहुत लगता है कि ये जो father है ये कैसे अपने kids के साथ 5 kids are there and still he is playing और कैसे ये खेल रहे हैं and how they are laughing, how he tickles his kids जब तक कि उनको ये ना जाए. Okay, then it was she decided there were different sort of father. Okay, firstly she has said कि why this Jesus made father, why Jesus made fathers for. पहले तो उसने ये बोले कि जीसस ने क्यों बनाए fathers. Next now she is telling अब उसको ये it has come to her mind that there are different sort of father, there are different types of fathers. Suddenly one day mother became ill and she and grandmother drove into town in a cruise carriage. अब एक दिन क्या हुआ उसकी mother बीमार हो गई और grandmother और वो mother को क्या किया hospital में admit कर दिया. Now the little girl was left alone in the house with Alice the journal. Okay. अब little house अब देखो in this line it was written suddenly one day mother became ill. And she and grandmother drove into town in a close carriage. अब वो mother in law गई तो उसको वो चले गई grandmother की and mother तो. Then the little girl was left alone in the house with Alice. Alice knock कर उनका I think. Alice the general. They was all right in the daytime, but when Alice was putting her to bed, she grew suddenly afraid. Now अब पूरे हाउस में वो सब एलिस के साथ रहेगी because grandmother both were out. अब डे में तो it was alright, डे में ठीक था उसको, but at night she used to have this nightmares. means अपने सपने she used to have and then her grandmother comforted her at that time. Now अब दिन में तो everything was alright, but while Alice जब रात को उसको बेड में था रख रही then एकदम उसको डर लग पड़ता है. ठीक है. Well, what will I do if I have nightmares? She asked. I often have nightmares and then Granny takes me into her bed. I can't stay in the dark, it's all get whispery. What if I do? If I do, just go to sleep, child, said Alice, pulling off her shocks and dragging them against the bed frame. And don't you holler out and wake your poor father. Now what happened? This एलिस केस ये होगी था नाइटमेयर्स आते थे तो ड्रामे सब में आते थे. अब वो बोलती है जब एलिस वाज पुटिंग हर टू द बेड देन शी आस्क्ड कि सपोज मुझे नाइटमेयर्स है देन व्हाट आई विल डू. क्योंकि जो मेरी ये जो नाइटमेयर्स है इसमें आई गो टू माय ग्रैनीज बेड एंड ग्रैनी कन्वीनियंस में पैसिफाई मी बट व्हाट आई विल डू. बट वो बोलती एलिस जस्ट तुम सो जाओ चाइल्ड क्यों अब उसकी सॉक्स हटा देता है और उसको सुला देता है और ये बोलते हैं कि एंड डोंट हॉलर मीन्स जो चीज लाउड शार्प क्राई और यू कैन से नॉइस तो बोलते हैं कि नॉइस मत करना बिकॉज योर पुअर पा इज स्लीपिंग एंड डोंट होल एंड डोंट डिस्टर्ब योर पुअर पा. Then, but at the same old nightmare came the butcher with a knife and the rope who drew nearer and nearer, smiling that dreadful smile. अब उसको फिर से वही नाइटमेयर आता है सेम ओल्ड नाइटमेयर की एक बुच्चर एक कसाई आ रहा है एंड ही इज विद अ नाइफ एंड अ रोप और उसकी नजदीक आ रहा है और वही इसकी ड्रेडफुल स्माइल इज देयर. While she could not move, could only stand still, crying out, "Grandma, Grandma!" She woke shivering to see father beside her bed, a candle in his hand. Now what happens? Now this thing happens that उसको वही ड्रामा सपना आता है कि butcher is there with a knife, with a rope, और वो उसको dreadful smile उसके पास it is coming, he's coming near and she और जोर से shout कर रही है grandma grandma और उसको क्या लगता है she खड़ी होगी एकदम she woke and shivering और कांपते हुए she woke and shivering and what she sees father is beside her with a candle in his hand. What's the matter? He said. Now father is asking about the matter. What's the matter? Oh, a butcher, a knife. I want granny. He blew out the candle, bent down and catch the child in his arms, carried him alone. Now look at this. Okay, this is a very good end of this chapter. Now what happened? Now she says कि मुझे वही सपना है, butcher है, knife है, मुझे granny, I want granny. और वो कैंडल को जलाता है, उसके साइड में बैठ जाता है और and caught a child in his arms. Okay, carrying her along the passage to the big bedroom. अब वो क्या करता है कि उसको लेकर अपने बेडरूम की तरफ चल पड़ता है. A newspaper was on the bed. A half-smoked cigar balanced against his reading lamp. He pitched the paper on the floor. Now, अब क्या करता है? फादर उसको लेकर अपने बिग बेडरूम की तरफ चल पड़ता है. ओके, वही उसको कैंडल को ब्लू आउट करते हैं. देन अब उससे क्या अब उसके फायर प्लेस एंड कैफे अब बच्चे को पकड़ लेता है और उसके साइड पे ले जाता है. ही लेट आउट बिसाइड हर. अब थोड़ा जाकर थोड़ा हाफ स्लीप स्टिल फिर उसको बुच्चर स्माइल आती है ऑल अबाउट. उसको फिर लगता है कि वो सपना आ रहा है. फिर अपने फादर की शी क्रेप्ट क्लोज टू हिम, स्नगल हर हेड अंडर हिज आर्म. अब देखो उसने अपना हेड जो पापा की आर्म के पास रखा है. देन यस held tightly to his pajama jacket. Then the dark did not matter. अब उसको अंधेरा नहीं लगा. Okay, फिर father, she is close to her father. अब she raised it. Here, rub your feet against my legs and get them warm. Said father. पापा ने क्या बोला कि तुम्हें ठंड लग रही है तो you can rub your the feet against my legs and get them warm. Tired out, he slept before the little girl. अब father थके थे और बहुत थके थे. He slept before the little girl. A funny feeling came over her. अब उसकी फेस में funny feeling आ जाती है because starting में she was very rude. He never spoke lightly with her. लेकिन जब उसके father बोलते कि ये अगर तुम्हें ठंड लग रही है you can rub your feet against mine और उसको अपने रूम में big bedroom में लेकर आते हैं because she was जोर से वो बोल रही थी. Then the father came beside her. Okay. अब वो क्या बोलती है तब उसकी बड़ी फनी फीलिंग्स आती है उसके फेस में. Poor father, not so big after all, with no one to look after him. He was not as soft as Danny, but it was a nice hardness. And already he had to work and was too tired to be McDonald. She had torn up all his beautiful writing. She stared suddenly and sighed. अब उसको क्या होता है तब उसके माइंड में आता है कि वो मेरे पापा बेचारे उनको कोई नहीं देखने वाला. ही इज़ वेरी पुअर, ही इज़ वेरी टायर्ड. वो मैकडोनल्ड की तरह नहीं खेल सकते क्योंकि ही हैड टू गो टू वर्क. सो एंड शी हैड टॉर्न अप ऑल हिज ब्यूटीफुल राइटिंग. तो उसको लगता है कि ये मेरे से गलती हो गई थी और बेचारे पुअर पा. व्हाट्स द मैटर आस्क्ड शी. एकदम उसकी फिर से शी साइड लाउड डीप जो हम डीप खेलते हैं. व्हाट्स द मैटर आस्क्ड फादर. अनदर ड्रीम. अब पापा से पूछते क्या हुआ एक और ड्रीम देखा. अनदर ड्रीम. Oh, said the little girl, my hand's on your heart. I can hear it going. What a big heart you have got, dear father, dear. Okay, this is. Now, अब वो बोलती है नहीं मेरा head, my hand is on your head, this heart. और मुझे लग रहा है कि हार्ट जो आपका चल रहा है and कितना what a big heart, कितना बड़ा heart है पापा आपका. And father dear. Okay, this was a very beautiful ending of this chapter. Hope students you have understood this chapter. Thank you.